I'm a feminist, but I find it hard not to dance to Blurred Lines. I know, but it's a very good beat. I know. I don't always dance to it, but I find it hard not to.
I'm a feminist, but today someone alerted me to the fact that Barack Obama is following me on Twitter.
What?
And I put on Facebook a screenshot of this and said, I can DM him now. I've checked. I can DM him. What question should I DM him? And a friend of mine came back and said, ask him what Michelle's upper arm regime is. And I said no, not because I'm a good feminist, because I thought, I'll never do it. What's the point? It's just a waste of a question. Like, I'd do it once, then I'd be like, no, that was too hard.
I'm a feminist, but I saw The Greatest Showman last week, and the very, very inspiring character of the bearded lady was very inspiring, but I was just sitting there thinking, you could give it a trim? It's an option? It's an option available to her.
Yes. Yeah, no.
I'm not saying shave it off. I'm just saying it's quite unwieldy. Give it a trim. I don't know.
I'm a feminist, but I thought to myself, I'm going to find out when Obama's birthday is and then make a little video of me dressed as Marilyn Monroe. Happy birthday, Mr. President. And DM him that video. And I thought, obviously, I would never do that because I'm a feminist. But then I thought, I should just have a little go at making the video just in case. So this afternoon, when I was meant to be sending back a serious work email about a feminist issue, I did make a 60-second video just to see if it was worth pursuing the idea. Probably isn't, but it was very enjoyable.
I thought you were going to show it to us now.
Oh, no, I will. I'll put it out online.
Will you put it online? Okay, good.
I can, yeah.
Hashtag the power of music. I'm a feminist, but I feel the urge to flatten Sarah Huckabee Sanders and use her as my sanitary towel.
Wow. You've really gone there, Rachel.
Have you seen her latest press conference?
I mean, yes. No, she is a terrible, terrible person. When Michelle Wolf compared her to Aunt Lydia, I thought it was awful, firstly, to the actress who played Aunt Lydia, that people were going, oh, you're being mean about her looks. I was like, well, how does that make that other woman feel?
Yeah, I thought
Number
that as well.
one, thank you very much. But number two, I thought, well, it's clearly just, she's a brunette. She's not a sort of tiny, petite blonde or a 6'4" redhead. She's sort of in that ilk.
Yeah, and she's a domineering anti-feminist figure
and
who should be in fiction.
Yes, who's ripping children away from their mothers. Like, it was a really good parallel, I thought. Couldn't understand what anybody was upset about that. I'm a feminist, but today I went to a lunch at the BBC and I didn't eat very much because I had that demure feeling come over me. Do you know what I mean? You're surrounded by other people in your industry and you want everyone to like you. So you don't sort of just... don't help yourself to more quiche, do you? You just sort of go, I'll just have a tiny piece of quiche and a little bit of salad and I won't eat it all because I've noticed the people around me have left something on their plate. So I left quite a lot on my plate and then got here and felt faint and sent Tom Salinsky upstairs for an enormous sandwich, which I then ate in the privacy of my own dressing room, like a wolf. Live from King's Place in London, the Spontaneity Shop presents The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Frances-White, guest co-host Rachel Parris, and very special guests Grace Petrie, RoxXxan, Vicky Jones, and Tuppence Middleton, talking about the power of music!
Don't have your own opinion. Be quiet and behave. You're not there to be remembered. You're just something else to claim. We're all the same. But like yesterday, I'll carry on anyway. Walking down the side road, they're calling all the names. I turn to face the music, I just want to run away. I don't want to be remembered for the things I didn't say. I'm not the same. But like yesterday, I'll carry on anyway. I'll carry on anyway. So call me hothead, call me any name. Find me harder to put into your game. I don't care, I just don't care. I don't care, it isn't fair anyway. Like yesterday, I'll carry on anyway. I'll carry on anyway. I'll carry on anyway.
Maia Miller-Lewis, everybody! So, Maia, that's a beautiful song. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, you
Oh,
are.
great,
It's a
thank
miracle.
goodness. Is it a miracle?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
3 teachers in my life. That's it.
I love that you look at me and see a teacher. I'm a feminist, but I very much see myself as someone of your own generation. So that's been a... All right, you don't need to laugh quite so loudly. That deserved a medium-sized chuckle at best. So, Maia, you're a singer-songwriter. Where can we hear the rest of your music?
On Facebook or SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. And it's M-A-I-A.
M-A-I-A. And on Facebook, it's Unofficial Maia.
Unofficial Maia.
Unofficial Maia. I tried to change it because it is also the name of a porn star, but
Yeah.
don't look that one up.
No. Well, or do.
Whatever takes your fancy.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And it's just as feminist to support sex workers. However, if you would like a singer-songwriter, Maia Miller-Lewis, said it correctly the first time, Maia Miller-Lewis, M-A-I-A, go and see it. It's a beautiful song. Has it sprung from a well of feminism within you?
Yeah, well, it was actually for International Women's Day, so I think it was in March. And it was actually inspired by my mum, the first line, like, they told you to be pretty. And it's about women that constantly were told, like, you'll be okay as long as you're pretty. And it's such a fallacy, and it's so wrong.
It's so true. I've been pretty all my life. And it's still terribly difficult. Well, it was absolutely... Maia. It was Maia. It was absolutely fantastic to have you on. It was fantastic to have you on, and we will all download the song, will we not? Brilliant. And is there anywhere we can give you some money for that song?
You can if you want.
I mean, I don't mean just pass a hat around. I mean, is there a Patreon or...
No.
You've got no Patreon or anything? Okay, so somebody set up a Patreon for Maia Miller-Lewis, because we will need to hear more of her music, and soon she will be the official Maia Miller-Lewis. Maia, everybody! This is The Guilty Feminist, the podcast in which we explore our noble goals as 21st century feminists and our hypocrisies and insecurities which undermine them. And I am aware undermine them is getting more ridiculous every time I say it. And I've got no power over it. I try not to do it. It happens. I'm not going to sweat it anymore. I'm not going to sweat it. Have you had a guilty week or a feminist week, Rachel?
A guilty week.
Oh, have you?
I looked.
Tell me more.
Checked that, didn't I? Like, I
Yes,
looked down, is
it was
the
like you had to look in the diary. You went, hold on a minute, Monday to... No, it's only Monday, guilty. But it's so early in the week to have been feminist yet. I mean, you haven't had a lot of time You said Sunday, that's generally not your most feminist day, unless you've been on a march.
No, do you know what? Sorry, can I change my answer? Let me have
Yes?
Yes, I'm changing my answer. For those listening at home, I just checked my piece of paper. So, actually, I've been doing some writing for TV this week already, yesterday. I've been doing feminist writing, so I feel like I'm having quite a feminist week, actually.
There you go. See, I did proof my book, my Guilty Feminist book yesterday, but not before watching 3 episodes of Queer Eye. For the straight guy, Queer Eye. I mean, that's all feminist, though, as far as I'm concerned.
That's feminist.
Yeah, it is in a way. It is in a way. I mean, I don't know what it's got to do with feminism, but it feels like it's generic empowerment for the human spirit.
Yeah, no one asked us to prove that, but it feels feminist, doesn't it?
It did feel feminist when I was watching it, yeah. They did a Queer Eye for a woman, because normally it used to be Queer Eye for the straight guy, and then homophobia has, thankfully, diminished in the 10 years since they made the first series. I mean, it's great for humanity, but not great for a show called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
And which is more important? That's the question. Humanity or TV?
It's
a grey area.
Yes, so they're being more imaginative, and they're doing a lot of stuff with religion and sort of connecting with the deep south. So they're basically, I thought series 1 was going to be Georgia, it was going to be Atlanta.
They
and
did
then series
loads of Georgia,
2,
yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought series 2 will obviously be, I don't know, Pittsburgh or something, I don't know. No, it's still Atlanta. It's like they can't leave.
Have they got no travel budget at all?
Well, I wonder if one of them's got one of those ankle bracelets and he's not allowed to leave the state. I mean...
Also, can we talk about the fact that Anthony, whose specialism is supposed to be food, clearly has no idea how to cook.
Oh, he's so cute, though.
He's so hot. Cute. But he can only cook grilled cheese and guacamole.
I did see someone on Twitter after the very first episode of season 1 going, can we just discuss the fact that one man remodelled a whole house and another one mixed some avocado with some yoghurt? That's not even waiting. If they're being paid the same, he literally put avocado in a bowl and went, I'll put some yoghurt in that and a bit of ketchup. I mean, that's how I would make guacamole. I'm not sure that's how...
That's the thing, you've got, like, Tan France. They'll spend, 25 minutes with Tan France picking, one shirt for someone to wear. And in that time, Bobby has remodelled and refitted an entire condominium. It's extraordinary.
It's true. And is it Caramo?
Yeah.
Caramo. Caramo will sort of stage a full-length musical about their life, or make a movie trailer as a proposal, or, launch a stand-up comedy career for them. And again, hot one in the kitchen is like, so you take an avocado. And now I've peeled it for you. You haven't, have you? No, the production assistant's done it, yeah. But I'm definitely going to mix it with my own beautiful hands. And you're all going to desire me sexually. Well, we do, so it's fine.
There's Bobby just with a saw in the corner, joining the wood.
Okay, we're now going to talk about the power of music. So to start us off, I've got my Ultimate Feminist playlist. So my first one is a little offbeat. It's not what you're thinking. It's from Hamilton, and it's the story of tonight. If you think of a choir of feminists singing, I may not live to see our glory, but I will gladly join the fight. And when our children tell our story, they'll tell the story of tonight. You could do anything. You could be a suffragette. You could throw a brick through a shop window. You could set fire to something. I'm not saying to do those things, but I'm saying you could. Collectively, we could kill some men if we needed to in the revolution.
Not allowed.
In the revolution.
Not allowed.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But I'm saying if there was an uprising revolution, a patriarchal revolution, we could raise a glass to freedom, something they can never take away, no matter what they tell you. Have you got one?
Yeah, I've got one from The Greatest Showman, which I saw last week.
I was hoping you'd come in with a big winner, because they've not gone for mine, and I thought Rachel's going to come in with an absolute winner.
Look, you led the theme of obscure and unpopular, so I thought
good.
I thought I'd keep in with that.
Fair enough. Yep.
So, having been slightly harsh to the bearded lady, actually the song This Is Me that she sings is incredible. It's like, I am beaten, I am bruised, I am where I want to be, this is me. And it's all about being yourself no matter what.
That's reminded me of one that I should have put on mine.
Yes.
I'm Still Here from Follies, Sondheim. I'm still here. Oh, yes. I'm still here. I'm so going to perform that at a show. No one's going to want me to, and I don't care. It's a show. I'm still here. I mean, that is an amazing song. But the one I've got here on my list is Pretty, Pretty Please. If you ever feel like you're nothing, you're fucking perfect. Like that song? That's Pink. Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah, that's really
Okay,
good.
more people have gone for that. Okay, you do one.
I have got anything by Pat Benatar. Bloody love Pat Benatar. It's in the car this week. You know, when you get on, like, you have one song by one artist and you're like, now I want to listen to their entire output. And I was like, I mean, We Belong, Love is a Battlefield, they're absolute classics. I must say, I haven't absolutely studied every lyric in those songs, but I feel feminist when I listen to them. Love is a Battlefield is great.
Very good. I've got He had it coming, he had it coming, he only had himself to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I bet you would have done the same.
Love that.
It's my ambition to perform that with Pussy Riot. And I feel I could make that happen.
I think you could. I think you have the power now.
Seriously, I feel like I could, if I invited them very nicely. I mean, you probably shouldn't invite Pussy Riot nicely. You should probably invite them with vigour. But I've got one of... They won't respond to nice. They'll respond to... one of their songs, Straight Out of Vagina, which I think is a good feminist anthem. Does your vagina have a brand? Oh, it's rhetorical, sorry. Let your vagina start a band.
Okay.
If your vagina lands in prison...
Oh, likely.
I mean, it did happen to them, so I think that's literal.
Oh, yes, sorry, I shouldn't joke.
Then the world is gonna listen. My vagina is tough and dangerous. Sorry, that's in the song, that's not me bragging. Shaking up the major labels. Vagina gonna take the stage, because vagina's got a lot to say.
Can I just check, sorry, is this the lyrics to one song? Because I thought you were listing their songs. And I was thinking, I was thinking they're a bit one note.
Did you think Let Your Vagina Start Band was a song? And If Your Vagina Lands in Prison was a song?
You were listing the names of songs. And I was thinking, I'd buy that.
It's all very vagina-focused. So now I'm going to play my next song, my next folk anthem. My vagina is tough and dangerous.
I mean, they're called Pussy Riot. They might do it.
Yeah, no, that's just to be clear, that's all one song.
Right, okay.
That's all one song.
Well, I'm disappointed.
All right, have you got a final song to close with?
I have, and I've got to give credit. This is, I couldn't think of great ones, and Jasmine backstage suggested this, and it is Raw by Katy Perry.
Oh, yes.
I don't know, there's something about that makes me inexplicably put my fist in the air.
Yes, yes, I see that. I do see that.
Please welcome to the stage, Deborah Frances-White.
Who run the world? Yeah. Who run the world? Yeah. Who run this mother? Now can you finish this one? As Frederick Engels argued in his classic work on the origin of the family, private property and the state, sexual inequality as we know it today did not exist before the advent of... It's actually private property, but very close to some of you. During early eras of human history, the sexual division of labour within the system of economic production was complementary as opposed to... Hierarchical. Hierarchical. That was from the catchy number Women, Race and Class by Angela Davis. Now, some people are dismissive of feminist icons, sort of pop culture feminist icons. You Katy Perry, for example. You know, before when Rachel mentioned Katy Perry's Raw, you saw some people go, yeah, I like that, and other people go, she's not really a feminist, though, is she? Beyonce, oh, is she selling feminism? Taylor Swift, oh, is she packaging feminism? And some people think that sells out the idea of feminism. But I think that popular feminist icons have dragged the idea of power, justice and consent for women into the bedrooms of some of the most disenfranchised young girls in the world. When I went to university in October of 1997, the pop offering on the radio, which was, by the way, the late 20th century's precursor to Spotify, included Barbie Girl by Aqua, which included the lyrics, "You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. I'm a blonde bimbo girl in a fantasy world. Dress me up, make it tight, you're my dolly." That was the offering when I went to university. Also, on the radio in the top 10, the week I went up to university was Mbop by Hanson, which features the lyrics Mbop, Badu Bab Dop, and also Spice Up Your Life was on the radio by the Spice Girls, women who denounced feminism for its vapid vein vanilla cousin, Girl Power. Now, Girl Power was all that was on offer, and so we sucked up their scraps gratefully. It was delivered by Jerry Halliwell in a Union Jack mini dress, who declared that Margaret Thatcher was her feminist icon. Yeah, see, you look back now and you go, oh, the Spice Girls, they were feminist. No, she said out loud, Margaret Thatcher was her feminist icon. And with her global platform, told an enthralled world that what women really, really want is a zigga-zigga. Which seems in hindsight like a wasted opportunity. You know, I ask you, when people criticise, Beyonce and say, well, she's packaging feminism, she's got this sort of feminist speech in the middle of a song, or she's making money out of feminism, I ask you, what else do you want these women who have an earned platform to do? They've built this platform themselves. Do you want them to deny feminism in favour of equalism or peopleism? Or all genders matter? And go the Kelly Clarkson route. Kelly Clarkson said, no, I wouldn't say I'm a feminist, that's too strong. I think when people hear feminist, it's like, get out of my way, I don't need anyone. I love that I'm being taken care of, and I have a man that's a leader. I hope you were wearing a red dress and a white hood when you said that. I'm not a feminist in that sense. Or in any sense, Kelly Clarkson, let's be real. But here's the thing. As dismissive as people are about feminist popular culture icons, we have to understand that the young black woman in Newcastle who's being patronised and underestimated by white men and women alike, frustrated because she has no opportunities and outlets for her smarts and drive, doesn't play in your part of the internet where you've written your intersectional feminist blog, necessarily. And she will never be able to find your empowering words on the interplay between Time's Up and white feminism. So here's the thing. She might be if Beyoncé is the first breadcrumb in the trail that leads her there. You may find Lady Gaga unnuanced, but she can be a gateway drug to RoxXxan gay. You don't have a pipeline into the bedroom of young disenfranchised women, but these icons do. Are they problematic? Of course they're problematic. I'm problematic. You're problematic. We're all fucking problematic. Let she who is not problematic cast the first tweet. It's going to be a T-shirt. Tearing down women for not being the right sort of feminist is not a feminist act. And as Harry Styles, that lesser-known feminist icon, pointed out, just because teenage girls like something, it doesn't automatically make it invalid. That's the song the patriarchy sings, and it's a lot less catchy than Single Ladies. So, look, this podcast, The Guilty Feminist, means that lots of young women write to me to say they didn't think they were entitled to call themselves feminists until they listened. And I'm not claiming to be the Beyoncé of podcasting. That's Jessica Williams from Two Dope Queens, obviously. But what I will say is if you're looking to Katy Perry and going, when she is inspiring young women to do more than zigga-zigga, when she is inspiring young women to get out into the schoolyard and roar and not be a Barbie girl, then I'm going to ask you, if that's all you've got, why you got to be so mean? And I would say that if anyone tells you that the women who introduced you to feminism, no matter how sequined, contoured or money-driven they were, are not good enough, I'd take Tay-Tay's advice and shake it off. Who run the world? Yeah! Thank you very much.
way, it would be nice if we did this the other way around, because yours is more uplifting and I'm the Grinch of the pop industry, in a way, in this section, because I completely agree with you about not dragging women down, and I hate snobbishness in music, but I also think you're entitled to like what you like. The thing that I've struggled with, what a struggle I have. The thing that sort of annoys me a bit, I suppose, with some of, especially like the pop industry, I suppose, is that I do think they are feminist icons, and I love that. I love Tay-Tay, I love Riri, we don't call her BB, do we?
Baby.
I love Queen Bee. I love Katy Perry. I really do. I love their songs. They make me feel powerful. Puss Rye. Don't think we can call them pop.
And their album, The Vagina Mix.
I'd buy it, that's all I'm saying. So, the thing is, I do love them. What I find difficult is that they do what they do dressed in bikinis so often. And I'm not anti-sex. I'm so all for, like, you know, women harnessing sexual power. I'm
body
all for
positivity,
that. Body
sex
positivity, sex positivity, absolutely.
All
Look
of the
at me,
positivities.
I'm wearing sequins. I think that women using sex as a power is something that should be celebrated. But I do think that that is something actually fairly well trodden. I don't think that's the most revolutionary of way that women have found power. I think that's actually women using sex to be powerful is something that men have actually understood quite well. And I'm so interested if in the pop industry, the music industry, what would happen if you took that element away? If you took, because it can't be a coincidence that you look at all of it is nearly always the women. You look at Miley Cyrus on a, you know, naked, hairless, toned, young. I know she's saying it's a feminist act, and, you know, certainly in some ways I'm sure it is, but I'm like, we're not really seeing men having to do that. And I look at Little Mix, whose songs I love and whose lyrics are powerful, but when they started out, you know, when they were in the talent contest, their almost USP was, look, we're not going to do that. They were in jeans, they were in T-shirts, they were just singing and dancing. And then they went into the industry, they lost weight, they toned up, they took their clothes off. And I'm all for taking your clothes off when you want to do it, but I worry about the industry.
You worry that it's being driven by some other power.
Yeah. I'm worried that it's not, like, necessarily a completely free choice, that it's like, it can't be a coincidence that all the women are wearing a lot less clothes than the men are in the pop industry.
It does seem to be a numbers game in that direction. Yeah.
Anyway, so
the ratio of naked women out does outweigh.
It does, doesn't it? And the video. So
it's sort of the pay gap in the other direction, and maybe women can afford fewer clothes.
Maybe that is what it is. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's what Pussy Riot will be doing the next album about.
That Pussy Riot dress in tracksuits and actually balaclavas. You can't claim that Pussy Riot's showing too much skin. They don't even show their faces most of the time.
And they're second-hand balaclavas as well. They can't afford them. There's this kind of trend as well, I think, for the whole feminist kind of like the war on men that doesn't exist. That music video that's all about kind of feminism as a fight, and they're talking about this is like, you know, fighting the war, but I'm in a bikini. So things like this. Could we play the mashup?
Girls, we run this mother. Yeah. This is my fight song. Ladies all across the world, listen up. We're looking for a who doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. We'll run the world, girls. Representing all the women. Salute, salute. Thanks for making me a fighter.
So I've just got a little song parodying that a little bit that I want to sing for you that sums up the things that slightly grate on me in that industry. I am the Grinch of this podcast.
I'm delighted. This is like a debate now.
Can we play the track? Thank you. Ladies, get in line. Give a salute if you're feeling fine. Get your privates on parade while I French kiss this hand grenade. Sit on a tank in a suggestive way. Oops, my bra is MIA. Grind on a cannon, enjoy yourselves. Most of our fans are under 12. An army of women, this
This khaki thong is just the beginning. We'll all get sexy PTSD and go witness atrocities. Hold the gun, lick the gun. Guns are hot, together we'll stop them. Who is them? What's this for? Whose is this gun? Are we part of the problem? An army of women, something about victory, blah blah winning. Fight the fight and buy my CD. War is definitely sexy. Thanks.
Our guest today, we have two guests in this panel. One of our guests is a folk singer-songwriter, a protest singer, if you will, who has collaborated with comedians including Robin Ince, Josie Long, as well as recording her own studio albums of protest songs. Please welcome to the stage, Grace Petrie! Here we are. Hello. Hello. And our other guest is an amazing hip-hop artist, and she also plays the lead role of Emmeline Pankhurst in our very own Guilty Feminist musical, Suffrageddon. Put your hands together for RoxXxan! Hey! Hello, darling. Hello. Hello. So you both make your living in music, and you do too, Rachel.
Yeah.
You do comedy music, but also comedy. But Grace, you are a protest singer, yeah? Folk and protest.
I'm a protest singer, yeah. Yes, sorry. It's become an albatross, that title. But
Has it?
A little bit, but it's one I definitely deserve. Yeah, no, I write songs about politics. It's just that I find it a little bit of it's a bit of a divisive term, I think it can be. I think it makes people sort of switch off a little bit sometimes, maybe before they've had a chance to listen to what you've got to say. Because I kind of believe that politics is everything, and everything has politics in it. So I think that to say you only write protest music, it's like, it's not a real genre, do you know what I mean? It's not, it doesn't describe anything about the music but I am aware that literally all you're doing is my introduction, and I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm not a protest singer.
No, it's interesting. I know, like, quite often being put in like a niche, in a category, makes you go, well, I'm
more than that.
I'm not just that.
I'm more than that, I'm less than that,
Sure.
I'm near it, but I'm not on it.
Yeah, I'll have you know I sing sad lesbian songs as well as sad Tory songs.
Good.
The whole
So
spectrum.
it's a sort of
Spectrum of sad.
sad lesbian. Do you do sad lesbian hip-hop, Rox?
Yeah. V-gang, not vegan is my main slogan.
Yeah.
V-gang, not vegan.
Yeah.
You got to sell that to Pussy Riot.
No, honestly, I've been trying to join, but I'm too hip-hop for them.
You're too hip-hop
I show
for
too
them.
much face. Yeah, I'm not in the balaclava, I scare people. Yeah.
So, RoxXxan, you're a hip-hop artist. Am I correct in saying that? Let me not pigeonhole you, because I
Yeah.
tried that with Grace and it didn't work out.
No, yeah, I don't
Who
really
are
say.
you? What do you do?
So I am RoxXxan. I am a rapper. I don't really say what genre, because there's hip-hop is massive, especially over here. There's grime and other things, dubstep. I just put on a beat, I'll rap to any beat. That's what I do.
And so, how much do you feel, say, for example, not that protest is all you do, but when you sing songs that have an element of political protest to them, how much do you feel like it is shifting the debate? Is it making people feel something differently? Is it inspiring other people to action? Can it shake things? Do you see what I mean?
The only kind of power I think that I have is that it unites people, music. That's what I believe. It unites people. And I think so much of the time, I mean, I started writing songs about politics when the government changed in 2010. I started writing a lot of stuff about anti-austerity and things like that. I've only ever put my music out myself, you know, I'm totally unsigned. But we live in this amazing age where you can do that. You can publish yourself and it can reach anyone all over the world, you know, within seconds. And I think that so much of what has been described for so long as the sort of political apathy of young people, I don't buy that at all. I think that actually a lot of it was huge amounts of disempowerment. And I think the only thing that I think is, I mean, people often say, like, do you think a song can change the world? Like, no, but people can change the world and a song can change people. Do you know what I mean? I think, like, it sometimes, like, the only thing you need is to feel like you're not on your own. And I think especially, like, you know, a lot of the stuff that I sing about personally as well, about sort of being a gay person and being a sort of like butch lesbian, which you don't see a lot of in mainstream culture. Like, I think if I have any sort of role, I think it's just to sort of make people out there who relate to what I'm saying feel a bit less on their own. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree. I'm a tomboy, but I'm not in gay world, just to bring you guys in for a minute. You have you have femme and you have butch, aka stud. And although I'm more of the masculine, I still, as you can see, makeup, hair, I'm like in the middle. So for me, with my music, there is no mainstream woman that represents me. Sure. You know, I don't look at anyone and think, oh, I'm like you. Yeah, I'm like, no, I don't really see anyone that's still gay, open about it, still quite masculine. Well, yeah, still quite masculine, wears boxers, wears bras. I'm kind of like, so that's what my music is about, kind of having a voice for people that, the misfits of the world. I guess they call us misfit music. They call us the misfits.
And in doing that, in doing those things, like putting sort of just something different up for people to look at, I just saw the trailer for Hannah Gadsby's Nanette on Netflix, which is an amazing show if you haven't seen it live. You've got to watch it on Netflix, it comes out today. She says, I need to tell my story because what I wouldn't have given as a teenager to hear a story like mine. Just that representation, like hip-hop, I love hip-hop.
Especially in hip-hop. It's so hard. That's why, I guess, I've been signed. I was signed 4 years ago to a major record label, Polydor Universal. When my hair's wet or out, it's a big afro. So they met the RoxXxan with the afro and they thought, oh, yeah, Scary Spice. Everyone does it. It's so lame, but that's what they do. Then as they got to know me and we were working together to put out an album, they were like, don't have your plaits. Do you wear dresses? Do you wear skirts? And then I left the label before I let them put out the cheesiest, horriblest song ever about men, which was a lie. Yeah.
Wow.
I know they changed she in my words to he. They took out the sh. It was really bad. It was so bad. That's why I didn't have to pay back the advance. Thanks. But yeah, they done that to me. That's what you do.
They made you were singing she and they made you change it to he.
They changed it to he. No, they literally edited it, mixed it. So I'm like she, and then it literally goes he, and I was like, am I crazy?
Oh, they did it in the edit?
They did it in the edit. I was like, am I crazy?
Oh, they didn't even get your buy-in and say, look, it's going to be easier
they didn't
to
sit me down. They just done it and said, this is what it needs to be. Yeah.
Wow.
And literally the best lawyer, Sarah Stenner, always a female, she had my back and she got me out of it. So that's why I've got a song called Masculine. You know, we kind of laughed about with it. That's what that's about.
Can you do a bit of masculine just because it seems like the right time?
They say I'm too masculine, that I don't look like a girl when my plaits are in. It's a stone cold world, big back sitting, and everybody want to match with Kim, and I'm more like ASAP Rocky on a fashion ting, silk shirt, let my little titties hang and swing. Couple gold chains on, just dangling. Couple charms on my jeans, just jangling. They be like, Rox, you too urban. Don't take pics smoking herbs with two girls in. Wear the afro, you look cuter with the curls in. Brands are only looking for a certain type of girl. So when you pull it out, work it like you're flirting type of girl. Download the mixtape. Yeah, sorry, thank you. But, you know, I'm sure you can relate. You can relate. You know what I mean? And everyone else, kind of, yeah.
No, seriously, yeah.
Can I really want to crowdfund a mashup of that song with Rachel's writhing
I think we
canon
should call it,
number.
What was it?
Seriously?
Vagina mixes. We should call it like, I don't know. If they're Pussy Power, what are we going to be?
Yeah.
Oh, Pussy Riot.
Pussy Riot.
Yeah, Pussy Riot.
We'll be Pussy Power.
We're Pussy Power.
Yeah.
Pussy Palace.
Sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel I want a more trans-inclusive name because I sometimes think, you know, if every song in your thing has vagina in it, it can be a bit exclusive.
What about Guilty Vagina? Guilty Feminist, Guilty Vagina.
I love that the vagina became a character in its own right there. Wow.
Yeah.
Come on.
That vagina's got to be a
They've
good
all
actor,
got their own
though,
characters.
really.
The Adventures of Guilty Vagina.
Yeah, or have the genitals you have and feel no shame. That's a longer, less catchy title, I'll give you that.
We'll work on it.
I'll give you that. So it's hard in hip-hop, in general,
really hard
for women, but if you're not, if you don't conform to a type, it sounds like it's impossible.
What's hard and what's quite sad about hip-hop is all women need a male cosign. If you think of all the women rappers or rappers, especially in hip-hop, think of all the women that were big. They've all had male, like Nicki Minaj was a part of a crew called Young Money. Lil' Kim was a part of Bad Boy. You know, they've all had the male cosign to say, yeah, she's amazing. And then the world have accepted her. There's never just been a woman that's just gone for it and been amazing on her own, which is quite sad.
How have things shifted since you've done Suffrageddon?
It's opened me up to a middle class. Hello, hi.
Allow me to introduce you to my middle class
sorry.
friends, RoxXxan.
Hi, I'm RoxXxan from the hood. I'm joking.
Fortnum and Mason biscuit.
But what Suffragette getting done is just researching a lot about Emmeline Pankhurst. We have so many things in common. The suffragettes were about literally having a voice, hip-hop, having a voice, rebelling against what society is telling you to do. And even the more we're researching about suffragettes, a lot of them said, nah, forget men, and just became gay. Or lived together, they just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they were bisexual and just sort of thought, this is I feel very much that I could be bisexual if the opportunity
I agree.
arose,
I just think you
RoxXxan.
haven't met... Don't say you're not gay. You just haven't met the right woman yet.
Yeah.
Or vagina.
But not bi or pansexual. Or Grace, how is it in folk?
Oh, bloody hell.
Because folk must be... folk must be easier for women than hip-hop. It must be... Is it not all women with guitars?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, before I strike myself off any further work in the UK, give me a shout if you're a folk fan. Okay, I don't think you're real. Because you don't sound like folk fans normally do. What noise would a folk fan? So folk is like, oh. It's more of that. It's more of a groan. Or a, well, actually. No, I mean, I love folk, but I'd say that folk is sort of like 20 years behind everything else politically, I would say. So, like, we have a funny experience. Like, my partner is a folk singer as well. And she's a very different kind of woman than I am. She's a very feminine woman. And the thing is in folk is that I've found that being sort of politically outspoken as I am, and also dressing the way that I do, I realise that this is a podcast, so I probably should give some sort of audio description, because otherwise it's not going to make a lot of sense.
Grace is wearing a chambray shirt and jeans and is preparing a raspberry coulis over a Hong Kong pavlova.
Wow. I was going to make a weird innuendo joke, but I don't feel like it's the right route.
No, I just feel like that's the voiceover you would get on MasterChef.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Okay.
Her hair is short, but carefully styled.
Oh, bless you.
A little bit of
this whole thing. That pretty much adequately describes it. I'd also say, if you're sitting there at home, maybe conjure up Justin Bieber in your head. That tends to sort of work for me. I've had a lot of pushback in the folk world. The audiences in folk across the board pretty much are white, middle-class people who are pretty much 60 and over. So even, like, that sounds like I'm being ageist, and I'm actually not. It's been funny to me because the world of English folk, you have kind of very outspoken political folk artists and some folk festivals and folk clubs who've got a really strong political tradition. And then you have the total other end who really sort of feel like they want their female folk singers to be wearing pretty dresses and have lovely long hair. And I think there's a huge problem in folk between the men are seen as the instrumentalists, the players, and the women are seen as the singers. And there's some incredible folk instrumentalists, amazing music players. I mean, the BBC Folk Awards, actually, in something like 17, 18 years of it running, there's only ever been 2 female Musician of the Year winners, which is quite incredible, actually. In many, many, many years, there's no female nominees. Like, it's just 4 men in the
it's like comedy. I would never have thought folk was like comedy.
No, it's a big problem in folk, I think.
Worse.
It's worse than comedy.
We never say that about comedy.
Yeah.
We say it all the time, Rach. How do you feel? Because you are both a stand-up comedian and an actress, but also you are a musical comedy act. So you perform songs in your 1-hour show. How do you feel as a woman in that space?
I feel that certainly doing musical comedy is treated like a novelty in the same way that being a woman has been. On bills,
so you're actually
in terms
double
of listing,
Venn diagram.
Like, she ticks that she's a woman and a musical comedian.
So you're like a ventriloquist, really.
Yeah, now we can have 7 men on the bill. She ticks 2 of the boxes. I think that one thing I've noticed is, even though musical comedy for the last, say, 5 years of my touring life has comprised about a third of, more or less, or quarter of the time that I do on stage, the rest of it is stand-up. And in spite of that, routinely in meetings and industry discussions and that. I'm constantly described as a singer, as a musician, and until this year, the only reason I've got sort of like finally a break onto panel shows is through the MASH report, where there isn't a piano in sight, and that's the only way of convincing them. And so many conversations have gone, she can't come on Mock the Week because we don't want her to do a song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, have you not heard? I talk as well.
That's so interesting, because when I started out doing 1-hour stand-up shows, because I like to sort of walk around the audience and have space, I decided to have like a clip mic or a sort of Madonna mic, which lots of men in stand-up do. Michael McIntyre does that, loads and loads of mainstream. But because I did that, and there was a joke in it about me wearing a bowler hat, so I used to come on in a bowler hat, and then the joke would sort of kick in 20 minutes in as to why I was wearing the hat. And honestly, the amount of industry people who said, well, you're not really doing stand-up, are you? It's more like a one-woman show, or it's more like cabaret. Because they'd seen the bowler hat and they'd gone, Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, in their heads. I never sang that. I never sang anything. They were like, it's kind of cabaret though, isn't it? Because you're in a dress, you're not in jeans, you've not got a mic, it's not... So I thought, right, I'm going to have to ditch the hat and get a mic, and then everyone saw me as a stand-up.
Yeah.
And a guy would not have that problem, because if he had a prop and a clip mic, no one would go, well, they're not a stand-up. I mean, at the same time, Dave Gorman... Well, before that, Dave Gorman was doing a PowerPoint fucking presentation. No one said he wasn't a stand-up. Yeah. No one said that. No one said it once.
It doesn't take, in any of these industries, it takes so little to marginalise you. If there's anything, a visual clue, an audio clue, like how you're dressed, how you talk. And all a woman needs, I think, is just one little tick to marginalise you, whereas a man would need 10.
Well, I think also men are praised for diversity. So in stand-up, you're a man doing jokes. If you then break out of the norm, you're seen as some kind of visionary. So, you're doing a show about the death of your father, and now you're starting a genre of, Edinburgh shows that have a 40-minute break where everyone cries. New genre, brilliant. You're a storyteller stand-up. You only do puns, brilliant. You're doing something else. You're a wordplay master, etc., and so forth. And men are praised for diversity, whereas women are asked to be homogenised, to the extent where some of my jokes on my recent DVD, they shaved off the S and just made me say he. No, I'm joking, RoxXxan, I'm joking. That really is only hip-hop.
Don't put the idea in their minds.
No, literally.
No, that really is only hip-hop. They blurred my face and made my voice lower so that I sounded like a man, and it wasn't clear that I wasn't one.
I was going to say, that's awful. I called Barclays the other day, and I couldn't get into my account because the guy was telling me I'm a woman. It was so embarrassing. I can't lie, I do have hay fever, so I was a bit deeper. But how can you tell me? I've given you all my information. I've given you all the codes. I couldn't get into my bank account.
What?
I know. So literally I was stranded in King's Cross.
That's so binary, isn't it?
How awful was that? Yeah, I couldn't transfer money.
I wondered as well, Grace, like doing protest songs, I've
had enough of this.
She says she's not a protester, but every time you say anything to her, she protests. I'm not a protest singer, and I've got a sign to prove it.
Do you think that people are more willing to hear protest from men than from a woman?
Yeah, definitely. I think, a lot of the things that I get, the criticisms that I get are all around I get called too abrasive. That's the thing I get called a lot.
So you might as well work in HR, really.
Yeah,
Because it's the same criticisms across the board, wherever you are as a woman.
I can dream. But abrasive and too in your face. One that's kind of again, like in folk, this is used, I think, as a bit of a fig leaf. Because I didn't come from folk. Folk wasn't my background. I kind of came up doing a lot of punk shows, really. So I was much used to the sort of like dirty, sticky black floor venues.
So you could start Pussy Riot with me. Guys,
is this a continuation of your bisexual conversation?
I'm ready.
The four of us, how about we start a new band, but we're all called Pussy Spice?
Pussy Spice.
And they can't fucking divide. They can't say you're this, you're this, you're this, because we're just all Pussy Spice.
Yeah.
Or
it just sounds a bit painful, Pussy Spice.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine those cinnamon videos where you put it on your tongue, but with your pussy.
Yeah.
Advocating it. I'm just
no. She's not recommending it. That's what's key here.
An interesting idea. Sorry, carry on.
Sorry. How could I follow it?
You came up through punk.
Yeah, I came up through punk, and so I swear in my songs, and I swear in between songs. Actually, when you asked me to come on to this tonight, you'll remember that I said, "Is swearing okay?" Even though I do listen to it, and
I said no because we broadcast on Her Majesty's internet.
Yeah.
And there's no swearing on there.
It's so funny. It's given me this real complex about swearing because in the folk world, people kind of say this to me all the time. They say, it's just such a disappointment that you were so sweary and you're so abrasive and so in your face. And I know now that I honestly think that these are just words that people kind of have found to comfortably say, like, you were a woman on stage wearing man's clothes. And I was really uncomfortable with that, and I didn't know what to do about it. And so I've come up with a load of stuff that is bullshit, really, for reasons why I don't like you. Because no one ever is really, or very rarely, people are like, I honestly thought you were shit. I didn't like your voice. I didn't like your songs. It's all around the way I present myself. It's all these things about you were just too in your face. You were too spiky.
Categorise you. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
So powerfully, what's wonderful about being a woman in music?
I mean, to go back a bit to the way I answered the question that you said about the power of music, for me, the most amazing experiences that I've had in my whole career are the times that people kind of tell me about how they found a real connection in something that I'd written and it really empowered them and it really inspired them. I had an amazing experience a few years ago when a woman came up to me at a gig. And I was selling CDs at the interval, which I do sometimes.
Are you doing it here tonight, Grace?
I will be doing it tonight, yes. It's never an easy thing to work in when you've gone on about being really fucking left-wing.
No one noticed.
Down with capitalism, but do buy the CD.
That's not capitalism, that's supporting a local artist. That's the most left-wing thing you can do.
The most left-wing thing. You'll basically be a Nazi if you don't, I think.
What I'm saying is redistribute your wealth in the direction of Grace Petrie.
Absolutely. But this woman came up to me and she was nearly in tears and she said, I just came up to tell you something. I saw you do a show with Robin Ince and Josie Long 2 years ago in Leeds. And I was in a really dark place at the time and I was really depressed and I bought your record and I listened to it all week on repeat and I was in a really, really low place and at the end of that week I just admitted to myself that I'm gay and I split up with my boyfriend.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And it's like things like that like really keep me going on the really shitty days.
So that is the power of music.
I mean, I think it's... But I've had that,
Listen,
you know what I mean? I've had songs
quite
speak
keen
to me
to
that
listen
way.
to this CD now in case I'm gay and don't know. So I've got my suspicions. If you're in any way doubt, or even if you're not, get the CD, you might be gay, and at the end of the week there might be an amazing revelation.
It is called The Gay Agenda.
Buy it for the teenage girls in your life and really piss off the whole Trump administration. Rachel, what's wonderful about being a woman who can command the stage with music as you can?
I suppose the flip side of what I was talking about earlier was that I do think that if you walk onto a hostile stage, which happens sometimes, and you're gigging around the country, you don't know what you're walking into. The music, sometimes, you've got an audience. I had a real killer one in Swansea the other day, where just like this row of frontmen who I walked on and they literally just crossed their arms and sat back and sort of went... when you're walking onto that, the music, it bamboozles them. It really confuses them. And I have seen a hostile audience suddenly start enjoying your comedy in a way that they, even if they're a bit resistant to it, the music's going to get you. It does. Even if, sometimes I think if I start off doing stand-up, it shouldn't be this way, but it is. If I start off doing stand-up, they're like, I don't think women should do stand-up or whatever, or there's something about it they don't like.
Women are funny,
etc. But even though you're doing comedy and music, the pure power of music, it hides your comedy and it sort of throws a blanket over their prejudice for enough time for you to make them laugh. And I find it personally like a really useful tool.
It's hard to resist if you're feeling the music, isn't it? It's really, you can say with your head, I don't like this, but the music lures you in. I once had a gig, it was way before the Guilty Feminist or I had any sort of, consistent fan base or audience. And I went to a night, it was a storytelling night. Every one of the acts, 5 acts, all had to tell a story, and then we would discuss the story in between was the format. And it was a really big house. It was sort of like this and packed out. And just sometimes, you'll know this, Rachel, the comedy gods will take you over, or you'll know this musically, or I know that you've got comedy in your act. It just takes you over and you're just surfing. It's just amazing. And I was just having the best night. And just everything I said, it was just... And once you've got into that space, it was just... I was having the best night. My story was brilliant. And then I had the banter and I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest night ever. And it was clear that I was going to be the star of the show. And then the next act said, my story is in song, and got out a guitar. And I thought, you bitch. And she played this song that was so beautiful and haunting and moving, and we were all weeping. And at the end of it, I said, well, the thing is, here's the thing, is I think comedy, it's a talent, but it's not music. There's something about music can do everything. It can just elevate, it can change how you feel in a moment. And I said, I was sort of in two minds at that point about having children, and I said, but I'd thought I didn't want them, and then I saw your father watching you play that song, and I thought, oh no, I do want children. And she said, how do you know my father's here? I said, well, he's the man in the audience looking at you like, I invented you. And I thought, but then what if I don't give birth to Joni Mitchell?
It's a risk, isn't it? It's a risk.
It's a risk. But I do think it's a superior talent. What's wonderful about music, Rox?
I would have to agree with Grace. Music for me is, especially being gay and in the black community, it's really hard for people to come out. They find it really, really hard because of it goes back, especially in Jamaica and back to slavery. And, you know, when the masters would make the guys have sex and stuff. So for me, it's when people come up to me and say, or they message me and they say, I've just told my mum and I'm finding the confidence myself. And I met a girl who had some of my lyrics tattooed on her arm, and that was like, it's there for life. That was amazing. And she would just come up to me crying, and I was like, it's only me. Like, I'm getting back on the tube with you to go home. You'll see me in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And that is amazing. That is everything to me, because I'm very down to earth and stuff. And especially the Irish. I've got a white Irish Catholic mum as well.
Same.
She hates me wearing my pride next to Jesus, but I believe Jesus.
Just to be clear, if you're listening at home, RoxXxan has a tattoo of Jesus on her arm. She doesn't think she's next to Jesus. She sounded like she hates wearing my pride. I think when I'm sitting next to Jesus, but the whole audience is going, we can't see him, RoxXxan.
Yeah, sorry. I have a Jesus bracelet on next with a pride.
I thought that was a tattoo of Jesus.
No, that's a woman meditating on a lotus flower with her vagina
I'm so
out.
sorry.
Yeah, she has her vagina out.
That was
no,
Jesus.
It's okay. Yeah,
Turns out I can see Jesus where he isn't. It's like seeing Jesus in Toast, seeing him in a tattoo when it's actually a woman praying.
Can I ask both of you a quick question? I'll start with RoxXxan. Did you have any icons?
Oh my God, Grace Jones and Skin from Skunk and Nancy, just for being so different. They were like my idols growing up because they were so different. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I've got a real hard on to hear you doing Weak as I Am.
I love that. Call me.
Yeah.
Well, when you do your inevitable mashup, that I'm genuinely going to crowdfund the music video for that.
Yeah,
seriously.
amazing.
I know I'll produce it. I'll put the music video together because I think it'll be amazing. Rachel, who are your icons?
Oh, I didn't ask that with any in mind.
I think Victoria Wood.
Oh, Victoria Wood, actually, yeah. She is. I love her.
Incredible.
I love that she did music and sketch and stand-up and everything with such warmth and generosity. And she
you are the 21st century Victoria Wood, actually.
Nah, fuck off, I'm not. I'd love to be. And she
That's exactly what she'd say, though.
And she gave her best parts to other people. She wrote her best parts for other people. I think that's an incredible thing to do.
That is amazing.
Very rare in comedy. I don't think I could do that. I wrote a joke. I'll say that.
I've written that punchline. I think you will not be. In fact, you won't be allowed to be here while I'm filming it. I'll be filming that over, you'll be over the shoulder.
Grace, what about you?
Victoria Wood was a big part of my life, actually, a big part of... I was absolutely devastated when she died. And I guess musically, I didn't really have a lot of sort of butch icons, and that's one of the reasons why I really kind of want to... It sounds a bit arrogant to say be one,
it doesn't. You want to be one, of course.
Yeah, I think it is quite important to me. The song I'm going to sing deals with that a lot. But musically, massively into Alanis Morissette. It was more about being in love with her than wanting to be her. But that album, Jagged Little Pill, I had a lot of feelings about that when I was 11 and 12 and 13 and all the way up to 30.
Did you have one hand in your pocket? For Alanis.
And everything was just fine.
Please welcome to the stage the wonderful Grace Petrie!
Thanks very much. I ended up writing this song because a few months ago on Twitter I started this conversation where I said, what is the one thing you would tell your teenage self if you could go back and tell your teenage self one thing? And I realised, we've talked about this a lot, but I realised that the only thing that I really wish I could tell my 15-year-old self is that it's totally okay to dress like this. I spent a lot of... Oh, hey, thanks. The way that I dress, the way that I present has always been quite innate to me. I've always been quite masculine, I've always been quite butch. And it's always been something that, because of the total lack of butch icons that are in the mainstream media, it's always been something that I was really tremendously insecure about. And that stayed with me way beyond being a teenager. It stayed with me all the way up to last year. And then last year, something amazing happened to me, which is that I turned 30 and I stopped giving a fuck about anything. Here hasn't turned 30, I can't recommend it enough. It's really the best thing that ever happened to me. So I wanted to write a song that's basically a little letter to my 15-year-old self. And I really wanted to offer my solidarity to my trans sisters at the moment who are experiencing a really tough time in the media. Pretty much every weekend there's a huge splash in a mainstream newspaper about how we should take away our trans siblings' rights and we should fear them and we should hate them. And I feel like as a gay person that really upsets me so much, because I feel like, 30 years ago they were saying these exact same things about us. Like 30 years ago, this year Section 28 came in. Like, I feel like if you're seeing the same tactics being used against trans people, then where's your fucking solidarity, man? That's what I reckon. So I wrote a song about that as well. And I just don't know why they call me a protest singer. This is called Black Tie, and it goes like this. Well, it's a jungle out there. The year 2018, I didn't think we'd still be sorting babies into blue and pink. And all our progress, well, I wonder what it means when the only girls' clothes that work for me turn out to be boyfriend jeans. Well, that's fine, 'cause I decline a narrow set of rules that just don't work. 'Cause these red lines, well, they're not mine. And if you need me, you can find me ironing my shirt, 'cause I'm in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in her year 11 hell, saying everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find the clothes that fit. Is the future, we're a patriarchal structure, and you never will surrender to that narrow view of gender. And I swear there'll come a day when you won't worry what they say on the labels, on the doors. You will figure out what's yours. And it's a bloody nightmare, trying to fight the spread of bigotry and fear. That's uniting Piers Morgan and Jermaine Greer. And all our progress, yeah, I wonder who it's for. When I dared to utter trans lives matter, yeah, and all I got was a turf war. Well, that's fine, 'cause I decline your narrow set of rules, they just don't work. Well, these red lines, they're not mine. And if you need me, you can find me ironing my shirt. Oh, I'm in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in her year 11 hell, saying everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find the clothes that fit. And the image is the future. We're a patriarchal structure. No, you never will surrender to that narrow view of gender. And I swear there'll come a day when you won't worry what they say on the labels, on the doors. You will figure out what's yours. You will figure out what's yours. And that it's got nothing to do with fitting neatly in a box that was constructed to make it seem like people come in just two teams, and anything that's in between ain't good enough. And you will love, and you'll be loved, and you're in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in a year 11 hell,
Darling, everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find the clothes that fit, and the images that fuck you. We're a patriarchal structure. No, you never will surrender to that narrow view of gender. And there's folks you've yet to meet, but you're exactly up their street, and they've been waiting just as long to hear someone sing this song. Better days are on their way, when it won't matter what they say. On the labels, on the doors, you will figure out what's yours. And girl, you're gonna be so happy. Girl, you're gonna be just fine. Girl, you're gonna be so happy. Down the line, down the line.
Grace Petrie!
Thank you very much.
We're weeping here. We can't top that. So go and have a glass of wine. See you in 10 minutes. Hello and welcome to The Interval. This is Deborah. I just wanted to let you know about a few things that were coming up. If you're going to be at the Latitude Festival on Friday the 13th at 1 p.m, Suffrageddon will be in the theatre tent. That'll be the 45-minute version, and I'll be there too in the show. I will also be at Latitude at the Faraway Forest Community Centre at 4:30 p.m. on Friday for a reading of My Mum's a Twat, an amazing play, and afterwards I will be running a Q&A. So please come along to both of those. If you're not going to be at the Latitude Festival, but you can get to London, there is an anti-Trump march that day, so please go along to that and support, and there will be a Guilty Feminist group going along, so just check out our Twitter to find out where they'll be. On the 6th of July there will be a 10,000 step walk through London for nurses, and if you would like to march with the nurses as a show of solidarity, go to the rcnfoundation.org.uk. 10,000 steps is the average number of steps a nurse walks in one shift, and it's to raise money for the RCN Foundation, and we really badly need that. If you'd like to come and see me in a show, I am in Inside the Comedian, a brand new spoof interview show hosted by David Reed, and that is this coming Thursday, the 28th of June, at the Bill Murray in Islington, and you can get tickets at angelcomedy.co.uk. They're only $5. Please come down. If you would like to come and see The Guilty Feminist, a lot of our upcoming shows are sold out, but there are some tickets left for Sunday, 15th of July at the Open Air Theatre in Regent's Park. We were sold out in Edinburgh, but the venue has now released some more seats because they're making the venue bigger. So those dates are the 25th and the 26th of August at the Underbelly. And you can get those tickets at underbellyedinburgh.co.uk. We are coming to Newcastle on the 17th of September at the Northern Stage, and we're coming to the Liverpool Playhouse on the 20th of October. I've written a book called The Guilty Feminist. It has lots and lots of new stuff about guilty feminism and my take on feminism, and some old favourites in print that people have asked me for. Please pre-order a copy. You can go to guiltyfeminist.com and click on the link under the Guilty Feminist book to pre-order it from Waterstones. There are also some events. I'll be interviewed by somebody. We'll do some I'm a Feminist Barts. I will sign your book. And you can come to an event at the launch on the 2nd of September at the Tabernacle in London, in Birmingham at the Glee Club on the 4th of September, in Liverpool on the 5th of September, and Manchester on the 7th of September, Leeds on the 8th, Glasgow on the 9th, Brighton on the 13th.
And we might put some more dates in as well in places that people are requesting them. Tickets are 20 quid, but you get a hardback book included in that, which sort of makes the price of the event a £5. And I will sign all books or body parts as you prefer. And finally, we are creating our own theatre space in Calais to put on events in conjunction with Help Refugees. If you can teach yoga or any other restorative skill like mindfulness, Tai Chi, anything like that, or if you can perform, if you have a band, if you can do comedy, storytelling, anything like that, please get in touch with us. And the email address is calais@guiltyfeminist.com. And Jonquil or Anna, who are running the events, will get back to you. We're hoping to have a full programme of events and classes. Some will be for refugees, some will be for the volunteers, but all of them will create a joyful, energised, exciting space in Calais where people want to be and draw profile and energy to that area. So please, 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 if you would like to get involved, email us. If you'd like to go and volunteer in the regular way, go to helprefugees.org. And please check out our Facebook and Twitter for a documentary, just a 12-minute film that we made when some comedians and I went out to Calais, and we also had a fundraiser in London, so you can kind of get the idea of what it's like. All right, back to the show and the power of music.
Please put your hands together and make general, enormous, guilty feminist woohooing noises for the wonderful RoxXxan!
Hello? Check. Hello, everyone. Sisterhood, sister hold me down like my sister should. Telling the deepest secrets while I sip the mug. Crying out I'm sick of love. Laugh until we cry, got me crying till I'm stitching up. Bottles of rosé filling up the picture cup. Giving good advice while I give a hug. At least we got each other, come let's live it up. Reminiscing about the little stuff, ashtray full of ciggy butts. Now we're in the mirror looking who's got the biggest butt, who's got the biggest crush. I know you like him cause I see you blush. You're my sister, you're still my sister. Even when you flip and cuss, picture us. Young girls becoming big women. Big city, big dreams of big living. The G code's the girl code and yeah, we've been with it. Hands in the air if you live it. We call it sisterhood. Sister hold me down like my sister should. We gossip over coffee while I sip the mug. There's so much I could say, and I wish I could, but when you called my phone today, I just can't pick it up. Because when you live in Brock, water feels as thick as blood. And when you're with her, and you think that it's love, but all of these emotions got your female intuition up. Because when you're in your feelings, no one wants to listen up. My sisters, I hold my sisters up. Birthdays and christenings, we keep on turning up. My sisters, the only girls I trust. Hit you with a random text just to show you love. Picture us. Young girls becoming big women, big city, big dreams of big living. The G code's the girl code, and yeah, we've been with it. Hands in the air if you live it. Guys, do you live it? Whoa! Thank you. Sisterhood. Now, whoa to myself. Thank you.
So I said to RoxXxan before, are you tempted to do hip-hop, Rachel?
Yeah.
Because RoxXxan taught me some hip-hop the other day. We went and did a suffrageddon workshop with the theatre, which was really amazing. And there was an exercise called protégé. I was made RoxXxan's protégé in the workshop, and she said, OK, you're going to learn to do some hip-hop. And I said, I feel that might be cultural appropriation. And she said, it isn't, because you're my protégé and I'm forcing you. So I said, no, good. And I loved it. We did that one with do you know what? I was for a second.
You know you was.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Your pronunciation is amazing.
I mean...
It's the main thing. You can hear every word. Yeah.
OK, Rachel, I'm going to tell you this. When we did Suffrageddon for the first time, and nobody knew really... I mean, I'd heard the songs and I thought they were amazing, but we didn't know how the audience were going to respond. They came out and the audience just got swept into it and they were just cheering so much. There were 2 standing ovations and it was just incredible. It is a musical for women of colour. And I said, which amazing part am I going to be, which suffragette? And they said, Deborah, you're going to be the men of the House of Commons. And appropriately, the whitest part in the show. But I was very honoured and I put on a top hat and a morning coat. And I went out and I did hip-hop. And that evening, there was a drinks in a bar afterwards for everyone who'd been in the show, and there were some important people there from Channel 4 who were interested then in making a pilot with me, which they've since made. Please feel free to @ Channel 4 if you would like to see that on the television. And And I was there chatting to one of the Channel 4 people going, God, I bet you didn't think a couple of years ago you were doing hip-hop at the Palladium. And my friend Olivia Poulet, who's a brilliant actress and a performer herself, leaned in. She's a really good friend of mine, and she went, I don't think what you were doing, Deborah, was really hip-hop, was it? She said, the others were doing hip-hop. What you were doing was speaking clearly. And I said, thank you, Olivia. She said, no, you spoke very clearly and I heard every word. And so we always joke in Suffrageddon that Deborah comes in and does her speaking clearly.
And you're still doing it now.
Speaking clearly.
I can hear everything you're saying.
You can hear every word. But I do secretly love a bit of hip-hop. And my anthem, because it's about performing if I need to work myself up for a big show, is Eminem's Lose Yourself.
Ooh.
And I feel you've got one shot. Don't laugh risibly. You've got one shot. Can you imagine? You've just got one shot, and you should lose yourself in the music,
One shot sounds a bit like it's about HRT. Just a bit.
That's ruined it forever now.
Or has it improved it?
No, it hasn't. But no, I wanted a feminist version of this because some of the lyrics, and it is just very blokey, isn't it? Eminem's very blokey, and we know his full canon isn't a feminist masterwork. But I love the idea of it, like to lose yourself and all of that. I love the feeling of the song. So I gave RoxXxan a short commission in the dressing room just before we came out and said, Rox, she's literally had 5 minutes to do this. I said, would you write me a feminist version of Lose Yourself by Eminem? And she said, do you know what? I will, and I'll teach it to the audience. Would you like to learn it?
If I'm in this, you have to be in this too. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
If I've got to lose myself, you've got to lose yourself. Sorry, that's my thing.
So on board. They're so on board.
We bring back the wonderful Mark Hodge.
Woo!
And Mark Hodge, we should say, is a feminist and an honorary woman, because he is one of the composers of Suffrageddon. He's the only non-woman involved in Suffrageddon, apart from some of the other musicians, actually. But also he's written the theme tune to the Guilty Feminist and the theme tune to Global Pillage and the theme tune to Grown Up Land with Omarosa, the last one, and is a very brilliant, talented musician. So just a big round of applause for the power of music and the power of Hodge.
It's the first round of applause I've had where I haven't actually touched the piano yet. It's brilliant.
I went to university with Mark Hodge, and in those days he was at sort of a posh college at Oxford called Magdalen. It was spelt Magdalen and pronounced breakfast. And he used to have what we would call Hodgestock, which would mean that you would go to his room and he would get a keyboard out much like this and then would sing show tunes and you could join in.
I imagine that in his younger days that's what Eminem did. Probably.
Yeah, shady stock.
Yeah.
All right, so are you ready?
Okay, so everybody familiar with Eminem Lose Yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just doing the chorus. I promise, no lyrics. So, wait a minute, because they need the words before we start bringing in beats and it gets all hip-hop on the piano. So, it's going to go. You guys are going to say, so, lose yourself, but our version. You got to choose yourself in an industry that wants women to lose themselves. Find your female power, improve yourself. Okay, sorry, is that too many syllables? No. How you going? How you hanging?
She has added a syllable onto the beginning.
Like literally.
We're not prepared.
So, use your female power, improve yourself. It's our time now, no more losing out. Oh. It's okay. You didn't know, but you tried. So it's not what you know, it's trying. Yeah, no, it's true. So
you're all speaking very clearly.
So, from the top, you gotta choose yourself in an industry that wants women to lose themselves. Find your female power, improve yourself. It's our time now, no more losing out. We need a line.
No need to get your boobies out.
Yeah! Okay, so one more time before we bring in Mark on piano.
Before Hodgestock begins in earnest.
So, and you're going to jump in as well.
Yeah. I'll jump
and we're going to do 2 rounds, not now, but on the piano, okay? So that means we're going to repeat it. Yeah? Okay, yeah. So, 3, 2, 1. You gotta choose yourself in an industry that wants women to lose themselves. Find that female power, improve yourself. Cause it's our time now, no more losing out.
No need to get your boobies out.
You gotta choose yourself. And so on, yeah?
Okay. All right.
Okay, so...
Are we ready? Should we
really
stand up?
hard.
I feel like maybe we should stand up if you can, if you want to, just so we can, because I need to...
Do you know what helps to have a little...
Because if you want to and you can. Because Roxanne taught me it's all from the hips. She was like, she said I had to be more like that.
Sorry, one moment.
Yeah.
Carlos, please may we have some piano in the wedge? Yeah? Oh, that was right, yeah? So...
Piano in the wedge?
I thought wedges were shoes, but hey, I don't wear them. Go. Yeah? Okay, feel it in your arms, your shoulders. Ready? You gotta choose yourself in an industry that wants women to
Lose themselves.
Find your female power.
Improve yourself.
Cause it's our time now, no more.
Lose it now. Don't get your boobies out.
I say you choose yourself in an industry where women
Lose themselves.
find the female power.
Improve yourself.
Because it's our time now. Don't
Lose yourself. No need to get your boobies out.
Yes, thank you. Wait. Can you take a picture? Have everybody standing up?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Wait,
We're gonna have a picture.
This is amazing.
Roxanne, everybody! Mark Hodge, everybody! All right. Okay, we're going to come at music from a different angle now. We're going to come at it from a different angle about how we sort of integrate it into our life and what it says about our relationships. Our next guests are two of the creators of the amazing play The One at Soho Theatre. Please put your hands together and make big Guilty Feminist noises for the wonderful Vicky Jones and Tuppence Middleton. Oh. Hello.
Musical chair.
Are you feeling quite hip-hop? Did you participate in that?
Yes.
I was well into it, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really clap on time.
You can't clap and do hip-hop at the same time?
I can't do it all.
No. Well, women are expected to do it all now, and there's no reason why we should. We don't have to do it all. Listen, you've got an amazing play on at the Soho Theatre. I saw it years ago, but this is now a different production. It's all updated and very 2018. It's called The One. And just to give you some landscape, Vicky Jones dramaturged and directed the original Fleabag, the play, and script edited the television show of the wonderful Fleabag, which I think we can all agree was a sort of female masterpiece in a landscape of, characters where women were, much like Roxanne experienced in hip-hop, sort of forced into a place. And Fleabag, I think we can all agree, would not go to any of those places she was told to go. That's an incredible piece of work. And you may know Tuppence Middleton for War and Peace, an extraordinary piece of work, or any other number of wonderful performances that she's given. There's music in this play, and in some ways it was born out of an experience of yours as the writer, Vicky Jones, in a toxic relationship. How did music play into that?
It was the only time that my then boyfriend and I kind of got on, really, was when we got the karaoke machine out. And he would sing things like the music of the night, and he would really try, and he'd do really well, and I'd be so sort of happy for him. That was the first scene I wrote, was a scene when they were actually getting on, even though they kind of hated each other and were sort of destroying each other, and the play came from that.
How was that playing that, Tuppence?
Yeah, well, I, like Vicky, am a big karaoke fan, so I didn't have much trouble enjoying that scene. It's more the kind of really heart-wrenching, traumatic, tragic stuff that happens around the karaoke scene, which is much more difficult. But I think music has really helped me in that sense, because I tend to make either a playlist or get a group of songs together when studying a character, and I've had a really weird mix of like really angry, early, screamy Muse, and then kind of really 50s twee, kind of like shawaddy-waddy. Like it's a really strange mix, but that's helped me through this character.
Do you take the job home with you? If you're playing like quite an intense part like that, does it take over your life a little bit, or are you able to just shed it at the end of the theatre day?
This play in particular is quite emotionally exhausting, so I found that I've been taking it home quite a bit. But it's amazing because essentially it is about a toxic relationship, but it's also about every relationship in a sense. I think everyone will see it and recognise something in themselves, even if it's a very extreme version. And when I first read it, I really sort of fell in love with the character of Jo, even though she can be really brutal and kind of horrible sometimes. But what I love about her is that she always speaks her truth. She kind of says whatever's in her head. And I think sometimes I wish I could do that. I wish I could be kind of brutally honest for a day. I think I'd lose a lot of friends and family, but it would be an interesting experience. And yeah, I really sort of related to that strength to be able to do that.
In a way, I suppose playing a character like that is a way of trying that costume on.
Totally.
Like, and being like, I'm not really like that. Yeah. And then realising maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, it is a feminist play in as much as it's sort of about exploring the darker side of a woman that we don't usually see. Like, women are usually boxed into... We expect women to be nice, basically, or we expect women to be broken and sad, angry, but in a sort of passionate way, not in a cruel way. And actually, she gets to play out all of those things that you might see almost in a Richard III type character. But she's a woman on stage. And he too, I mean, they are brutal to each other. And I think it's a really amazing exploration of the way we can sometimes be in relationships we don't often see portrayed. We see men portrayed that way, but we don't see women portrayed that way.
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons I wrote it, was because Phoebe and I were sort of making stuff at the time, and she was going for auditions for things where whatever the character was, even if there were moments when the character was sort of dark or mean or whatever, there was always sort of an underlying reason for it. Maybe she was abused, or maybe she just secretly wanted to be a mother, or, you know, sort of things that explained that behaviour, which we always felt like a bit of a cop-out and a bit boring, you know, that the character can be complex enough to have sort of no apparent reason why she was...
Because she's human.
Nihilistic.
Or we don't know the reason why
or we don't necessarily need to know the reason.
No, sometimes we're self-destructive, or we are destructive of a relationship we love, and we don't really know why we're doing it, but it's probably, you know, something in our childhood or the fabric of our personalities or the particular connection and chemistry between the two people that's quite nuclear.
And it's nice for me, just to add, as an actress, because I'm now 31, most of the things that drop into my inbox are, oh, it's another young mum. So I've kind of like, my sex pot days are over. But actually, this was really...
In terms of casting, you mean?
In terms of casting.
Just to be clear.
Yes, just to be clear. Not, I've given birth again without realising. Yeah, it's... no, in terms of casting, it's something happens when you turn 30 or in your early 30s where suddenly
Grace Petrie loves it. She recommends turning 30.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really great. But still, largely, you get typecast as young mums or someone's wife, and...
I'll tell you something, Tuppence. I'm 3 years older than you, and I can tell you last year my castings went from young mum to just mum.
Oh, no!
So you've got that to look forward to.
A dark day.
A dark day.
Yeah, but it was amazing because this was a part that kind of none of that stuff applied. And I think also, you know, up until you're sort of in your early 30s, maybe mid-30s, you get a lot of roles where there's a lot of sex and nudity required. And this play has a lot of sex in it and a lot of references to sex. And
do you have to writhe on a cannon?
Well, come and see it and you're not far off. The opening scene.
No nudity.
No, but yeah, the point is there is no nudity. And I flicked through the script when I first got it and thought, well, that's my boobs out at least 4 times. And then the first day of rehearsals, both the director and Vicky immediately said there's no nudity in this play. And it was really amazing to see the difference when a play is written by a woman and it includes a lot of sex and, you know, the potential for nudity, but none of that was in there. And yet it's one of the most amazing pieces of work that I've ever read, and observations on a relationship and on sex. And it's really kind of erotic and suggestive and violent at times, but
it's hot, is what she's saying. Definitely book a ticket. Book a ticket. It's hot, but in a sort of the dominance and submission tips, and it's just, you're not watching a 50 Shades of Grey by any means. But if you do have a secret love of anything in that area, or an open love, doesn't have to be a secret. It is in my case, or at least it was until I said that. But it's a very hot play, it's a very erotic play, but in a really sort of, because it's been written by a woman and it plays in a space with a very powerful woman and goes into spaces that we would like to go into sometimes we perhaps go into in our interior world. So I highly recommend it as a very intelligent and funny piece of theatre that leaves you a bit like, at the end.
Thank you. Can I ask you about War and Peace? Sorry to be boring.
Yes.
The character that you played in that, did you feel like, from a feminist point of view, I feel like in a way, even though she was a bit of a cow, but also, did you feel like she was sort of a bit punished for like being sexual in a way?
In the book or the adaptation?
Oh, I haven't read the book. On
TV, which
I meant
was
in
an
the book,
adaptation
though.
of the book.
I want that question too, but I want
Yes.
the question about the book, because
this
I
audience-
don't watch television. I've read the book earlier on my phone.
This audience will have read the book, so
This audience.
Yes.
Just give us a cheer if you've read War and Peace.
Of course you have.
Just give us a cheer if you watched the show. Okay, all right. Answer about the show then.
The show.
Yeah.
Well, I think what Andrew Davis tried to do with the adaptation was to be as loyal to the book as possible, but to still update it. And I think that he very much wanted to celebrate Helen and make her a woman who was strong and made the choice to, yes, get married for kind of social reasons, but also to, you know, have fun and not shy away from sleeping around, and for that to be okay. And yes, maybe the end was always going to be the same because that's the ending in the book, and maybe Tolstoy did, in a sense, punish her.
I felt really sorry for her
Yeah,
at the end. Like, it
I think
felt
she didn't
like
deserve
a woman's
her fate.
burden. Like, oh, you have to get married in those times. And so, but she wanted to keep on having fun. I mean, yes, she was a cow, but also not for those reasons. And then, like, oh, you know, the pregnancy, all of that, and then
and in the
illness.
end, I mean, I think that it's ambiguous in the book whether she overdosed accidentally on medication designed to give her an abortion, or whether
spoiler.
Sorry.
Okay,
Well, you've
we're going
watched
to have
the
to
show.
cut that out of the podcast.
Only on the Guilty Feminist would you have to do a spoiler alert for War and Peace.
Well, some people might not have read it yet.
The fact that they plan to.
Yeah, they do plan to. They do plan to. Yeah,
very
exactly.
good.
That was also a toxic relationship, which sort of
Yes.
ties us back into the one. In the one, that basis of music playing into the sort of toxicity. Vicky, you were saying that that was sort of inspired by a relationship where you only had music in common, almost. You only had karaoke in common. Do you sometimes feel when you leave a relationship, when you break up with a partner, that you lose some music in the... I don't mean literally they take your CDs, because we don't have CDs anymore. We just have downloads. That's not an issue anymore. You don't have to sit there on the Kindle going, that's my book. But do you feel like you know, sometimes evocative music gets ruined for you?
Totally. I had to find my way back to Bob Dylan after a really annoying loss of a relationship where
I would never let
the
anyone
only
take
loss
Bob
was
Dylan.
the Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan's
love.
very much what I write to, so nobody's getting the Bob Dylan. Tom Salinsky, if you ever leave me, I keep Bob.
I kept Bob in the end, but it took a while, and that was hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I would take out an injunction saying he couldn't listen to Bob Dylan. It would be for the duration of his life. It would be I'd be very clear about that, because if I knew he was listening to Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, I'd think, no, that's how I feel about this. You've wasted my time. You've just wasted my precious time. Don't think twice, it's all right. That's how I feel about you. I am now getting shelter from the storm. You're not getting anything, mate. I would feel that. Have you ever lost songs in a relationship, Rachel?
Yeah, songs, whole genres sometimes.
That's harsh. If someone's taken a genre, they've gone, what? I've got heavy... I'd say you can have heavy metal and punk.
They have. Certainly whole
not punk,
bands
actually.
have been ruined by... Like, I think...
Whole
for me,
bands have been
I
ruined.
love...
What band has been taken from you by a man?
Like the Smiths, I didn't mind.
Morrissey's taken a dark turn anyway. No, fuck that.
I'm sure it's partly to do with my personality, but I do feel like when I'm in relationships, I often absorb the musical tastes of who I'm in a relationship, as well as adding them to my own, not having any of my own. If that relationship ends, I move on, and then it's not always tainted, because I don't always end relationships badly, but it is, I do associate it with that person quite often. Can I quickly tell you, when I was 21, I went out with someone only for about 6 months, and we broke up, and it was a really sad break, and I didn't want to break up. It's very complicated, and he gave me a sort of goodbye CD. So this was after we'd confirmed that we were breaking up. He gave me this CD.
A mixtape at the end? No.
Yeah.
No.
And it had on it, very confused, knowing that I wanted to get back together, it had on it, like, by Anthony Johnson, I think it is, I Can't Let Go. I can't let go.
Well, you are letting go, mate.
I know.
I've said I want to
don't
stay
let go.
with you. Fuck
and
you.
it also had it had Johnny Cash's Hurt on it.
No. This audience has judged that lover. And I want you, this is recorded, thankfully, you can send him that noise and say, make that your ringtone forever, because that's the scorn of 400 women on my behalf. Not that I'm carrying anything. Love, Rachel. I've moved on and I've forgotten. My life's great.
It definitely hasn't scarred me for life.
You have to watch me on the MASH report, buddy. I mean, if you lost country and western in a breakup, it would be damning, wouldn't it? Because you'd have nothing to listen as they walked out the door. Like, do you see what I mean? Like,
or if you lost, like, Beyonce, you'd have nothing to empower you.
Oh.
Nothing. There's nothing else.
But actually, I think that's actually a good point. You must not listen to your feminist anthems with your partner. And I mean that. Whether your partner, no matter the gender of your partner, you must keep some feminist anthems just for the headphones. And you must not listen, because when they leave, and they will, because relationships end. Look, come on, they're going to leave or die. Am I wrong? All right, or you'll die. But you can't take Beyonce to the grave, sadly. It's just good, in case they do leave or die, to have a few songs.
Yeah. Hold on to Pat Benatar, that's my advice.
Just keep them for yourself. If you play them in the house and you dance around in your underwear together to these songs, they're destroyed. And I think that's the message of the one, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah.
You've got to go and see this play. It is...
bleak.
Arousing.
Yeah.
And
I love that you said bleak and arousing at the same time.
I think, you know...
There's something in that.
Bedfellows.
It's a unique play that can be bleak and arousing, but it's also funny, and it's all of those things, and you must go and see it. Is there anything that you would like to say about the play that you think people need to know?
If you're not sure about the person you're dating and you want it to come to a head, it might be a good thing to bring them to.
If you're in a heterosexual relationship and you think it might be a lesbian, buy Grace Petrie CD. If you're straight but you don't want to be with your partner either, for sure you're straight, then come to see The One. Either way, by Friday it'll be all over. But it's good, clean cut. You know where you are. They're only going to leave or die anyway. We've discussed that. This is not normally where the Guilty Feminist goes, as you know. But
Same question to you.
I think that because this play was previously on 3 years ago, I think that lots of the issues and the kind of gender politics in the play were bubbling under at that point, and I think they've very much come to the fore now, so it feels like a really great time to be performing in something like this, and for people to hear Vicky's words again, because I think that we've allowed ourselves to accept this version of women or relationships a lot more easily now, and I think that it will hopefully reach a lot more people.
Mm-hmm. I feel it definitely will. If you're interested in a sort of feminist exploration of relationships and toxic relationships, then it's really, really worth coming and seeing it. And if you love karaoke or you loathe karaoke, I still think you will love The One. But I do think we should plan a Guilty Feminist trip to go and see it, and we should book in a Soho karaoke room afterwards. Because I think karaoke... Seriously, I really suggest it. Because I think karaoke is a release for feminists or anyone who wants to take up more space and power. I think karaoke is the most wonderful release. It kind of lets you be loud and large, and there aren't that many spaces where you can be it's socially acceptable to be loud and large. And I would really recommend try doing karaoke sober. I know, that sounds dangerous, but book out one of those rooms and go in the afternoon and feel it take up space, because I think it will encourage you, because otherwise you always associate it with booze. And then Monday morning, when you want to walk into that meeting, or you want to go in and get funding for something, or you want to be on an all-male bill and take up space, take yourself back into that place. I think karaoke is a really useful tool. Get a karaoke machine at home and get the Chicago karaoke CD and sing, he had it coming, he had it coming, he only had himself to blame.
If you'd have seen it,
if you'd have been there, I tell you, you would have done the same.
We don't know what the swish and kick and blah, blah, blah is.
Lipschitz.
Yes.
Excellent. Vicky Jones and Tuppence Middleton, everybody. Just before we get onto the absolute closing, quickly, where is The One on?
Soho Theatre.
And when?
5th of July to the 25th of August.
And we can book tickets at?
SohoTheatre.com.
Super. Kelly, is that correct? SohoTheatre.com. Rachel Parris, where can we see you? or follow you?
You can find me on Twitter at Rachel Parris.
Super. And you're touring?
I'm touring September until forever.
Okay.
Tickets available at rachelparris.com.
RoxXxan?
Sorry, my name is spelled RoXXxan. I'm not the porn star, I'm the rapper. Yeah? Everywhere.
It's a common problem. Maia's got the same problem. And Mark Hodge, everyone should see Suffrageddon at the Roundhouse and Latitude Festival. You can see Suffrageddon, and RoxXxan, you can see her there too. And Grace, just quickly plug your thing at the end before you begin singing.
You can follow me at Grace Petrie, at Grace Petrie on Twitter, where I tweet about most things I'm doing.
So who's got a charity of the week? Great, what's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, what's your charity of the week?
Cambridge Rape Crisis.
And could you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, I have the privilege to stand up here. I've been involved with Cambridge Rape Crisis as a trustee for the last 5 to 6 years. It's a helpline, email service, counselling service run entirely by women for women who have experienced sexual violence. And yeah, it's an amazing organisation.
That's very, very important, especially as austerity from the Conservative government is closing down rape shelters. Listen, if you've paid to come tonight, there's no obligation, but if you have got anything on you from £1 to £100, there'll be collection tins on both sides. We've left the tins at home, so there'll be collection pint glasses, but that's appropriate in Britain. And if you could put something in on the way out. And if you are at home, this podcast is free, so if you could please donate to...
So go to cambridgerapecrisis.org.uk to donate online, or you can text CRCC30 and then any pound sign from £1 to £10 to 70070.
Great. So either text or give online. It's a great cause. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's Grace Petrie, everybody!
So listen, you participated so well in RoxXxan was on that I felt a bit jealous. So what do you think about a sing-along to him?
Yeah!
Cool. Yes. A few years ago, before I was a musician, I had this horrible experience. I don't know if this has happened to any of you, but I had a job I didn't really like. I know. What are the chances? I worked in this tremendously trendy bar that was frequented by trendy people. I'm not a very trendy person, and the people who worked there didn't like me very much, and they made that very obvious. And I only worked there for 3 months, and then I sacked it off. But I learned an important lesson about conforming, which is that it's bullshit and you should never do it. And if you're trying to be what you think other people want you to be, you'll never be happy. That's what I learned. I wrote a song about it. It's got a sing-along chorus that is a bit sweary, a swear-along, if you will. How do you feel about a swear-along?
Love it.
Yeah! Cool. So I'm going to tell you what to do when you're supposed to come in. It's called Inspector Morse, and it goes like this. Well, as I roll in late again, you roll your eyes to let me know that you're not surprised. And yes, I know I'll let you down again. You're not impressed. I know I don't look too bothered, but I'll try my best. 'Cause I know that I'm not what you want me to be. The trouble is, it doesn't bother me. Another day of keeping up this pretense. Honey, it don't make any sense. 'Cause you don't have to be Inspector Morse to see that you and me, honey, we're flogging a dead horse. 'Cause I know that I'm not what you want me to be. The trouble is, it doesn't bother me. And I know that you know that we're going downhill. But I don't care, and I never will. I don't care, and I never will. I don't care, and I can handle your disappointment. I'm being the only fly in this ointment. And I won't lose no sleep on being your black sheep. 'Cause honey, that's all I've ever been. We all I've ever been. Okay, right. Are you ready for the swear along? So ready, born ready. It goes like this. This is your bit. It goes. So be strong, be resilient, be young, be fucking brilliant. Be strong, be resilient, be young, be fucking brilliant. Be strong, be resilient, be young, be fucking brilliant. Be strong, be resilient, be a bit louder, guilty feminist, come on! Be strong, be resilient, be young, be fucking brilliant. Be strong, be resilient, be young, be fucking brilliant. Thank you so much.
So my suggestion is now, just before we do I Will Survive, Maia and Rox and Grace and Rachel and Mark just have a bit of a jam. Yeah. Just a bit of freestyling fun. Anyone got a song anyone else could join into? I'm just making it up. Let's just play. Let's just be in a feminist space. Anyone can join in who wants to. There's no obligation to join in, but who wouldn't? I'm going to. Genuinely, I have no interest in not joining in on this. I want to be here.
As well. Yeah, this mic then.
Oh,
you can
shit.
Go,
Okay.
You can do whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
shall I just start?
Yeah.
So, a little bit faster. Check. Brought me the road, I rep, road I step. Trousers and polar necks, pose and flex. Me and my bros are next. With afros, cane rolls and specs. We wear gold on necks, yeah. All of our clothes are fresh. Love a sesh because we the best. I got loads of energy, so I need loads of sex. Loads of enemies, yeah, you know they vex. Swag in my suit, all my cozy sweats. Bad little you, better show respect. So, flick mode in a sec. I stick to the G code and put love in effect. No drama, I'm coming for the sex. Ring the alarm, cause I'm coming for the sex. I don't know, I'm coming for your sex. I'll say it to your face and I'll pussy on the text.
Feminism is great.
I'm not gonna look like you like. I'm not gonna look like you want me to. I'm not gonna look like you want me to. I'm not gonna look like you want me to. I'm not gonna look like you want me to. Like you want, like you want, like you want me to. I'm not gonna act that way too.
Check. I'm a team player.
We're gonna make you climax with your hands.
I'm not gonna look like... Oh, I'm gonna rap.
Yeah, we're gonna get Deborah to rap.
They call me DB.
I'm not needy.
I'm not needy.
I'm not greedy.
I'm not greedy.
I'm on TV.
I'm on TV.
Hey! Yeah, just say anything that rhymes.
Okay, Roxanne's just told me to say anything that rhymes.
2 times.
Okay. We'll say it 2 times. Okay.
Should we all say a line each?
Yes. Let's say a line.
Okay. So we're on stage and I'm gay.
I might be another day.
I've got something to say.
Oh, I don't really know what to say.
That's part
Did
of the
England win the World Cup? No way.
So, I heard we won 2-1. Heard we won 2-1. Deborah, it's your turn. Go on. We won 2-1. Okay.
I find feminism can be fun.
Together, the lights feel like the sun.
It doesn't make me want to run.
Yeah.
Can you believe we didn't pre-write this song?
That will be available. Yeah, that will be available in shops. Never. All right. It's time for our final song, which is our sort of standard classic. Rachel, are you going to take the lead?
I'll take the lead, but everyone join in.
Yeah, of course we'll all join in. Okay.
First I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights just thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong. And I learned how to get along. And now you're back from outer space. I just looked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock. I should have made you change your key. If I hadn't known for just 1 second, you'd be back to bother me. Oh, now go. Walk out the door. Just turn around now. 'Cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh, no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. I've got all my life to live, and I've got all my love to give, and I'll survive. I will survive. It took all the strength I had not to fall apart. Kept trying hard to mend the pieces of my broken heart. And I spent so many nights just feeling sorry for myself. I used to cry, but now I hold my head up high and you see me, somebody new. I'm not that changed up little person still in love with you. So you felt like dropping in and just expect me to be free. Now I'm saving all my loving for someone who's loving me. Go now, go. Walk out the door. Just turn around now. 'Cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with your bite? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh, no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. I've got all my life to live, and I've got all my love to give, and I'll survive. I will survive. That's our show. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Vicky Jones, Tuppence Middleton, Rachel Parris, Grace Petrie, and your really amazing audience. I'm Deborah Frances-White.
You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Frances-White, guest co-host Rachel Parris, and our very special guests, Grace Petrie, RoxXxan, Vicky Jones, and Tuppence Middleton, and also Maia Miller-Lewis, and RoxXxan, and Rachel Parris, and Grace Petrie. The recording engineer was Chris Sharp, music was by Mark Hodge, the producer was Tom Salinsky for The Spontaneity Shop. Thanks to Zoe, Jacob, Sally, and everyone at King's Place, as well as all of you for listening. For more information about this and other episodes, visit guiltyfeminist.com. I'm just going to find Rachel an appropriate microphone. Is that one working?
Yes.
Great.
Um,
Across the streams.
So, is it all right? Are we doing okay? Yeah. No, I'm talking to the sound guy. Thank you, though. Do you know what I love about the sisterhood? Is we're just doing a quick sound check because it's a podcast, and women are going, "You are doing great. You hang in there."
Tuppence, do you mind if I leap in?
Hello there. You've heard a lot about Brexit on this podcast and the possible impact it will have on women and vulnerable people. Now, one of my very favourite straight white men, Guilty Feminist producer and my husband, Tom Salinsky, has co-written and directed a very funny satirical play about it. It's called Brexit, and it stars Timothy Bentinck, who you might know from The Archers, with Mike McShane Hal Cruttenden, Pippa Evans and Joe Caulfield. Incredible comedy names and Edinburgh stars. I've seen a preview and it really is wonderful stuff, funny, biting, and the cast is fantastic. You can get tickets now for the Edinburgh Fringe run in August by going to brexitplay.co.uk. And if you use the code GuiltFemPod, you can get £2 off your ticket. If you won't be in Edinburgh in August, but you are in London, you can get tickets now for the 2 London previews on the 27th and 28th of July. Once again, go to brexitplay.co.uk for tickets.